Good afternoon, this is John from 2 Does Bees and Gardens. You can see the families over here behind me. We're preparing for the Arctic blast that we're supposed to get. We get freezing weather, 1 or 2 times a year. This is the beginning of January and there's some cold weather coming. One of the things that we have been doing, expanding this garden that you can kind of see behind me, is occultation, which is covering grass and weeds, smothering them to clear space for garden beds. Let me show you what that looks like. So you can see this tarp that's here. I just moved it. It's been in its previous location for several months. Let me show you what that looks like. You can see there's the space where I just moved the tarp from, and you can see all of the grass and weeds are dead. So it's basically a blank canvas. What we'll do is we'll get some of the wood chips that I have around front of the house, and we'll cover this bare patch of dirt, soil, with wood chips. That does a couple things. One, it makes sure that the earth is covered. We just spent a lot of time killing the weeds, and if you don't cover it with something, the earth doesn't like to be naked, and it will cover itself with weeds and grass again. So we'll get out here in the next few days and we'll cover this patch of dirt, soil, with wood chips. Just so you can see, for an example, you can see all of our wood chip path here. This is the stuff we use in the pathways, but it's also what we use to create and cover the bare soil. A number of years ago, I started on this garden process, clearing all the field weeds and grass, and this was one of the places where we had a solarization tarp, and you can see it's been covered with wood chips, and we're actually growing stuff in it now. You can see some blackberries. We just put up this trellis a couple of weeks ago. There's hardy kiwi down on this one, and then some other plants. And you can see some other occultation space over there. But we're working on expanding the garden. It's always a work in progress. Where this patch is, that's right behind me, is where I had my figlets, my new figs, the tiny figs, cuttings that I started last winter. And they spent the summer under this big old tree that's here next to me. But anyway, I just thought it'd be interesting to bring you along and show you kind of our process of clearing space to grow our garden. If you don't clear Bermuda grass and nutsedge before you try and plant, it will come back. It will take over. It's persistent. That's the thing about Bermuda grass, why it grows so well here in Texas and why it's used so much in Texas, because it's very hardy and likes to grow. So we try and clear it out before we put garden space in. Since I'm here, I thought I'd show you one of the things that we do as well. You can see this is a new bed. It's got a little bit of soil in it, mostly old soil that we've used in the past. But what we do is when we build a new bed, we use it as a compost bed, and we put all of our garden debris in there, all the leaves and branches, any used soil, and we start to fill the bed, and then we let it break down over winter. In the spring, I'll come and level this bed. It's not level all the way yet, and we'll make sure it's all broken down, and then spread it out, cover it with some good soil, and we'll plant into it. That's how all of these beds that we've built here have been done. Sarah just covered this bed. It was growing lots of the stuff this spring and summer, and she just emptied it out and covered it with leaf debris. Like I said, the earth doesn't like to be naked, and if you don't put something on the soil, it'll find stuff to grow. It's usually stuff you don't want. This was another bed that we had this spring and summer. You can kind of see it looks a little disheveled right now. All those vines in there were watermelon. We got a lot of watermelon this year, and you can see it actually overgrew out into the path here. But this is another section of mulch where we had used occultation to kill all the grass and weeds. Obviously you can see I have another tarp up there, and you can see where if you don't have ground covered, it will like to take over. I need to get out here and cut all this stuff down and then move that tarp to kill this section here between these two tarps where the tarps were. This is another section where we just had moved a tarp. We have put down the mulch. It's nice and thick. I don't know if you can see how thick that is. I put my foot down there. It's pretty thick. There's the tarp we moved. You can see the space up there where we've already cleared and put more mulch down. These sections will be raised beds at some point in the future. These are cedar raised beds on this side. We're going to mirror these and to this section here. It's a long-term process to build the garden out here. It's about a half an acre in size, and you can see the garden beds there behind me. And we try to make it look nice and keep growing. You can see my workshop there behind me. And then back over here, you can see all the space where we haven't gotten to yet. Eventually, we want to put in a nice pavilion here right behind me and do things like fig tastings and honey tastings, things like that. Kind of special events here at the garden. We also like to do things as natural as possible and let nature help us. Let's see, we've got a new bug hotel here. I've got another one in the workshop I still need to put up, but I'm going to save it for one of the expansion places in the garden. And then over in that tree over there, see if I can zoom in on that. You can see up in the tree, I put a screech owl box. And I'm hoping that the screech owls, if they move in, we know we have them around here, that they'll help us with rodent control out here in the garden, and help us with other bugs and mice, rats, whatever. When you have a garden, you have things that like to eat your garden, and we like to try and invite the things that will help with those pests to live here if we can. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you again sometime soon.